Okay.
You like your homepage?
It's beautiful.
Everyone's still joining. Like I said, y'all know this real. Go ahead and drop where you're from, so we just kind of know who's in the house, and we'll get started right. Concord, North Carolina. Got people dialed in from Raleigh.
Jersey in the house.
Jersey City. We see New Jersey. All right, y'all. So let me go ahead and get this. I'm gonna figure out how to turn this off. Oh, there we go.
Can you see me?
As y'all can, I can see you.
Am I too far?
You're good. I can see more of your ceiling than you.
Okay, I'll
bring the camera down a little bit.
But then you'll see my stomach.
Well, if that is the goal, then you're good to go.
But my office is in the attic, so it's weird because it's like the roof.
Yeah, no, I got you. Let's see. All right, no one else is shouting out where they're from, so we'll go ahead and get this thing moving. First of all, oh wait, hold on. Let's see. Yes, we do have the same shirt on. There's a little theory behind that. I'll talk about that in a second. But Houston, Texas. Hey, Crystal. You've been coming through the last few as well. I had some technical difficulties. Like the emails kept bouncing back. So I know that everyone got it last night. I don't know if you received it today. So if I am kind of randomly Jersey, hey Brittany, looking at my email, is because I want to make sure that everyone that wanted to be on it today is here. Myrtle Beach, okay. Latasha, that's where you, Latorsha, that's where you live? I thought you lived in Raleigh. Or are you on vacation? Are you not social distancing?
That's where she lives.
Really? Okay, I thought she lived in Raleigh. See, well, I'm mistaken. You got an email today. Okay, well, it was like 75 emails bounced back. So thank you, Gmail. Little plug, because you know Ebony works for Microsoft. I will be switching over to what is it, Live?
Outlook Live? Oh my gosh,
Outlook.
That's like
yes.
1995.
Look, I don't even know the name of it. Outlook, because Gmail, they act funny about repetitive emails. I don't know what it is. Okay. Yeah, see, I like to send reminders. I done spoiled y'all, and Gmail has let me down. But anyways, we'll keep it moving. I'll figure out what's going on with that if I need to do some troubleshooting. But I'm here today with Ebony Dilworth. She's one of my really, really good girlfriends, friends, associates, college. I like to say I was her roommate in college as well. Former bride, yes. Business coach, therapist, and so many other things as well. And I have on one of her brand t-shirts. She's going to talk a little bit about her brand. She has on the white one. I have on the black one, because I'm all about supporting my friends and what it is that they have going on. So I'm going to let Ebony introduce herself.
Good afternoon, ladies. As Sabrina mentioned, I'm Ebony Dilworth. I am everything she said: a mother, a wife, a daughter, a sister, a friend, all of that stuff. But outside of that, my 9 to 5, I'm an account executive within the tech space. So I do work within the Microsoft advertising sales department. What that means is I work with brands and advertising agencies to help them achieve their business goals through the use of Microsoft products. Outside of that, I am also the founder of Millennial Mama, which is why we're wearing our Millennial Mama tees today. So that is my online blog and platform, and it's a space for millennial women to connect and share tips and tricks to not just motherhood, but how to navigate their careers or their businesses, and understand that, you know, we need to prioritize our needs as much as we prioritize the needs of our family. And I'm also the founder of the Princess Foundation, which is a nonprofit organization based out of New Jersey. We are coming up on 9 years. And our mission is to empower and support young women in urban communities to develop skills, effective communication, and dedication, which will prepare them to be of service to their community.
Okay, you better drop that mission statement.
Yes.
All right, ladies. So we are here to talk about maintaining your side hustle, and just being able to still work that 9 to 5 or run that other business, whatever your situation may be. And so I'm going to give you a little bit of a description. These days, having a single 9 to 5 secure job to the end of your working life is increasingly rare. Striking the balance can be tricky, but it's absolutely necessary. The side hustle, the passion project, the job you do after your day job, sometimes on your day job, the thing that 29% of workers are already doing to make money, side hustles are extremely popular. An estimated 44 million people in the United States have a side hustle, and that's over 6 times the number of workers who hold multiple jobs. So the moral of the story is that you typically, in order to really thrive, I guess you can say financially, is to have more than one hustles in today's society. So Ebony has already kind of introduced herself. So what has your life been like since the coronavirus outbreak?
It's been all over the place. So this is week 3 of working from home for me. Week 1, it was a walk in the park. I'm sure, like a lot of other people, I thought it was something that was going to happen. It was going to blow over, and that was going to be the end of it. Right. So week 1, I was sticking to a schedule. My husband was still working. My son was still in daycare. I had it figured out. Then by week 2, things got real. My husband, he's a teacher, and he started working from home. So naturally, he's never worked from home before. So he had to adjust to this new environment. I had to adjust to them being home with me because I usually work from home once a week. So I'm fine with it. But being home with him and then keeping the toddler busy, last week was just a hot mess. I think I had a glass of wine every night last week. Now we're on week 3 and we're getting into our new normal. So we're figuring out what works for us, how we can swap off on meetings, keep the kid busy, all that stuff. But I really thought I was going to have a lot more time to work on my side hustles during this crisis, but it really hasn't been the case, especially since in my main hustle, I work with brands and they're getting hit hard. A lot of the stores are closed. Almost all the stores are closed. So now we have to re-strategize how to reach their audience on the internet. Are people just researching? Are people researching and buying? What does this mean for everyone? So it's been a lot.
Yeah. I was talking to my friend the other day, and she said, honestly, I worked more from home than at work. She was like, I've been doing more work at home than I actually do at work. And I was telling her, and I was like, I keep hearing that from everyone. I think that's because people have a misconception that when you're working from home, you're just watching TV, you're chilling. No, you need all of the distractions to be out of the way. Shanika says, real talk. Yeah, like I agree with you, because it was definitely a game changer for me. I've been working from home now for about 4 or 5 years, so I'm used to it. But the first timers, I think last week it hit people hard. But I think this week everyone's starting to find some balance.
Especially when you have kids running around.
Yeah, see, and that's another layer. It's trying to then figure out with the children, if you have a house full and so forth and so forth. So, but what inspires you to begin your side hustle?
So my first side hustle, which I don't necessarily call it a hustle because none of the money goes to me, but so the Princess Foundation, it really came out of a need. So it's based in the community that I grew up in. So I went to North Carolina for school, came back, thought I was this grown woman and forgot how teenagers act. And I felt that there was a need within the community for young girls to be able to have an outlet to express themselves. A lot of parents are working a lot, don't understand really what's going on in the mind of the youth. So at that time, I was a lot closer to their age. So I wanted us to be a liaison between the girls and their parents, the girls and the school administration. fast forward 9 years, we're not that close in age anymore, but it really was out of a need. And then having them identify what success means to them. So mainstream media will say, oh, you have a lot of money, you're successful. You have a house, you have a kid, you have a family, that means successful. You know, that means success to a lot of people, but we really wanted them to identify, what does success mean? What does that mean to you? What makes you happy? And then once you gather all these tools through college or trade school or being a young entrepreneur, how are you putting that back into your community? So that was really the inspiration behind the Princess Foundation. I love it. And really for me, I want it to grow to a point where it's a resource for other people, where I could, you know, supply jobs for other people. That doesn't need to be my, you know, my full-time job. I want it to be create jobs for other people. And Millennial Mama was really inspired by being home with a newborn baby for 5 months. So I was returning to work. I knew I did not want to stay home because I was focused on my career. So I wanted to blog about what that return to work would be like, because what I did notice is a lot of the mom bloggers or mom platforms, they were very cookie cutter and by the book. I am not traditional. If you want to eat fruit snacks at 11 a.m. and that's what we need to do for me to get my work done, you're going to have fruit snacks.
Any moms out here can agree. Sometimes
like
you just gotta choose my battles. You
got to choose your battles. So I really wanted to have that platform for moms to connect, and it evolved into more than I thought it would be. So it's Millennial Mom is coming up on 2 years. I've had countless opportunities to speak. I've spoken at She Prevails, the Beatless Meetup Tour, and just different opportunities. And it really has been a resource. And so many women have connected with me, you know, about them not going after their dreams after they have kids. And that was the biggest thing for me is, hey, we're going to prioritize our needs the same way we prioritize the needs of the family. You can have it all. Something's going to suffer at different points, but you can have it all if you just figure out how to navigate this new space. So I'm just navigating it with everyone else.
Candace said that she had to bribe her child with ice cream cone before dinner yesterday, and she had no shame. And
no shame.
I look, you got to do what you got to do. So I bribe my kids constantly with candy just to eat fruits and vegetables. It's ridiculous. All right, so kind of moving on into our next one. Like I said, you know, I might have to kind of just type on my computer because I'm getting tons of emails of people who didn't get the link. Ooh, that's stressful. But anyway, how do you manage to consistently crush your full-time job and not become distracted by your side hustle? And do you use like any organizational tools to do so?
So for me, the first thing for me with my job is being vulnerable. So, and that hasn't always been the case. So I've been at Microsoft for almost 5 years now. And anywhere I've worked before that, I have not showed up as my most authentic self. And it's like, I mean, I'm not a cheater, but I imagine if you've been in a relationship and you're cheating and you're sneaking around, it's just going to eventually crumble one day because you're just kind of sneaking around. So I discovered that once I was able to just be honest with my employer about what makes Ebony, they have been able to support me even better, and I've been able to show up better as an employee. So that's the main thing, is being vulnerable, being authentic, and not feeling like you have to sneak around. I don't steal office supplies. I'm not stealing company time to do stuff. So, you know, there's no need for me to feel like I need to sneak around. And that has really helped me to kind of propel my career, because a good employee is not just someone that performs and they hit their numbers. You have to be a well-rounded person. It's like when you're applying for college, like what else did you do besides all of those educational things? So they're able to see the impact I make in my community, the impact I'm making, you know, with blogging and stuff like that. And that was actually something that came up in my interview for the job. Was one of the interviewers, she asked me about the nonprofit, and she said, why isn't this the first thing on your resume? Like all of these other jobs, yeah, it's great. It's exactly what we're looking for. But the impact you're making in society trumps all of this other stuff. So that also goes hand in hand with finding, you know, if you want to stay in the workforce, finding a place that has values. I support my company's mission 100%, and making sure that their values align with your values. So that's the biggest thing, is just being vulnerable and being authentic. Organizational tools, I'm not gonna lie, I am not the most organized person. I always call it organized chaos. But one thing over the last few months it's been super helpful for me to kind of time block my calendar. So I can't just get everything done in one day. So it's finding those days that I'm gonna focus on Princess Foundation. I'm gonna focus on the Millennial Mama. And of course, Monday through Friday, all day I'm focused on my career. So being able to time block, because I learned that once you say, oh, I'm gonna get to this today, it's a domino effect. And by the end of the week, you never got to it. But once it's on your calendar, like after I put the baby to sleep, from 10 to 11 is Millennial Mama, 11 to 12 is the Princess Foundation. It's just been a lot easier for me. And then we use, like with Princess, we use Slack. So I'm able to communicate with my team through Slack. That's a great organizational tool. You can share, documents, calendars, etc. And other than that is really managing my calendar. If it's not on my calendar, it's not happening. And that goes for even personal events, birthday parties. I have to put it in my calendar or it's not going to happen.
Right. So kind of going back to the point that you said about working for an employer that you can be authentic with. How many people on the line can say that they can go to their employer and let them know about the side hustle that they have going on now? Because I can 100% agree with you as well. When I had my 9 to 5, my boss, hands down the best boss I've ever had in my life, because he probably should have fired me a long time ago, but I never lied to him. I never lied. I used to be like, I need to meet with a client at this venue. They can't do anything after 5. Can I please leave at 4? But can I come in at 7 a.m. instead of 8 a.m.? Like I would never just not do my hours, but you're not really supposed to do that. Specifically with a county job, like your hours, you sign up for that at the time of your contract, and that's what you work. But he would let me do that. But I'm just curious, like, who on the line feels like they can actually go to their employer and talk to them about some of their other dreams or ambitions or side hustles that they actually have going on? And we're going to take a question. It seems like we have here. She said, I'm a mom of 5 and I struggle with being a wife, a mom, and managing my department at work and still dedicate time needed to impact with my blog and website. How do you fit your dream in your life so that you can flourish?
I think the biggest thing is kind of breaking it down. So a lot of people think that all of these things are just going to work together at the same time and it's going to be great. And that's just not realistic. It's like a seesaw. Home is going to be popping one week, but at the bottom, your blog, not so much. And that's been the thing with me and Millennial Mama. Like, I'm not rushing it. Again, it's not something I intended to be what it is today. I'm not rushing it. Could I be doing a lot more? Yeah, I can, but I'm also focused on being a new mom and focused on my career. And I think having that conversation with your partner about what you're working on, that helps a lot, because they need to understand, the time you're spending away from being a mom or being a wife is spent on something that's going to be valuable to the family. So I'm not, you're not just out here doing stuff just to do it or hanging out with your friends and neglecting your responsibilities at home. These are all things that's going to benefit your family in the end.
Gotcha. So a few of the ladies said that they feel like they could tell their supervisor because they're supportive, but not necessarily on like a company as a whole standpoint. They could just kind of speak with their direct supervisor. Z from Canada, she said that she couldn't do it because she worked very long hours and she actually ended up resigning. Z, I'm curious, what is it that you actually are doing now, just out of curiosity? But kind of moving forward with the conversation, what are 4 types of passive income that someone can start working on today? So what are like 4 different types of side hustles and or full-time jobs that someone could pursue that you think would be a good fit in today's climate?
It's hard given today since you can't go anywhere. But the first one I would say is invest. Now, disclaimer, I am not a financial expert. I'm not a financial advisor. So go find one before you make a move that you're unsure of. But stocks are low right now. I would say we're all, if you're lucky to work from home or you're not commuting, you're saving on your commute. You're not buying lunch. You're not going to happy hour with your friends. You're not going to dinner. Think about the money you're saving there and take some of that and invest in some of these stocks that are really low. I can't suggest any right now because, again, I'm not a financial expert, but I think that's the first thing is put some of that money away. Don't even look at it. If it's something you want to grow next month or next year, maybe investing is not for you, but down the road, it is something that is going to be valuable. So I would say take a couple $1,000s, throw that into some stocks, see how it grows. And even if you are currently investing, I know it's crazy right now. And some people are just making quick moves and wanting to pull out the stock market. Unless you're of retirement age, don't be alarmed. There's no need to start pulling money out and all that stuff. Just wait it through. 2, something that I haven't been doing enough recently, but I have a bin full of clothes with new tags, gently used. Go on like Poshmark or something. People buy anything. I mean, I don't put up like random stuff, but people will buy a washcloth on these sites. Can you hear me?
I think you freezed on us.
Can you hear me?
And you freeze on us making the craziest face.
Am I back? It looks like I'm good. Is it you, Sabrina? Uh-oh, Sabrina. I think it's yours. I said, because I upped my Wi-Fi through this. Okay, while Sabrina figures it out, I'm going to keep... Are you back?
I thought it was you. It was me. I'm back. Go ahead. Proceed. Go ahead.
Okay, so investing is number 1. Poshmark is number 2. People buy anything. Go ahead, take pictures of those clothes. People will buy it. And you'd be surprised how quickly people start buying things. And if you haven't used a platform like that before, they send you a free shipping label. You just have to send it to the buyer within a certain amount of time, especially if you have like designer stuff laying around that you know you're not going to wear anymore. There are people out there that will buy it, but they will literally buy anything. So Poshmark and those type of websites, that's number 2. Number 3, we're stuck in the house. If you're into fitness, offer virtual fitness classes. If you're a teacher and you have time, virtual tutoring. Like parents are up to here with going through work with their kids. So see if you can start like a side hustle virtual tutoring. And then the last thing, just start that business. This is time. And I'm not going to get like all super religious or biblical, but like we've all been asking for rest at some point, and we hadn't found the time to do the things that we needed to do. This is a time of rest and reset. So just, stop talking about, I'm going to do it next month. I'm going to do it next week. As you can see, next week doesn't happen for some people, or some people don't have a job to start that business next week.
Right.
So get that business plan, start making connections virtually. This is a perfect time to virtually network because people are behind their computers. You'll probably get responses quicker. Really start, thinking of your business plan and networking over LinkedIn, Instagram, all of that stuff.
Everybody, can't nobody say right now that they busy, they flying, they traveling. There's some, our essential employees, as they say. But for the most part, if someone is ignoring you right now, it ain't, they just don't want to talk to you because everybody got a little bit of free time right now. And they have their phones
just
in
a little bit.
Z said she used LinkedIn. That's how she found me. Look,
I love LinkedIn.
I spend more time on LinkedIn these days than I do than any of the other social media outlets. I have connected with some of the most amazing people over the last 2 years. I've been on LinkedIn for years, but never used it to its full potential until the last about two and a half years. Someone suggested it to me, and it has really changed the growth and the connections and things like that I've had for my businesses as well.
It's
so
true.
definitely
LinkedIn is the tea. When I say, like, especially if you want to break from the news and just all of this, you can see, what people that you that you admire and stuff. You can see what thought pieces they're reading. You can just learn so much about people through LinkedIn. So if you're spending more time on Facebook than LinkedIn and you're trying to start a business, it's time to reset that.
All the way time for that. Let's see. Someone said they got to start using it. A lot of people said they love it. Someone said they're setting it up today. Great tip. Z said that's how she now needs it for consulting. She's learning to blog on LinkedIn. Yes, a lot of people start blogging on LinkedIn because honestly, that's how it started. People got on there to do like thought-provoking articles and stuff. And I want to say Ashley suggested another platform to us on the call the other day. I can't even remember the name of it.
I think it was Medium. Was it Medium?
Medium, yep. Medium is another one. It may progressively go into that. Yep, Medium. See, y'all been listening. Y'all, Taronda, thank you. I'm terrible with my memory. But yeah, so Medium. So that's another good one as well to kind of just, especially if you're like blogging and looking into writing articles. So next question. Let's see. Hold on, wait. We got a couple of comments. She says she loves LinkedIn. I've definitely built my network the last year and the free courses are great. Asana said it's successful. Crystal says she's scared to use LinkedIn for my side hustles because of my actual job.
What is her side hustle and her professional job? I need to know.
Yeah.
There's a loophole through everything, Crystal.
Yeah. You have to tell us what it is, and then we can. And if there's anyone else that is afraid that this may hinder their 9 to 5, and that kind of takes us into our next question too, as well, Ebony. Once she gets back to her, I haven't tried the free courses on LinkedIn, but I heard they're great. Yep. Z says she was in the same situation as Crystal. I was a finance leader and my teams on LinkedIn were also all the executives.
Oh, that's another thing. There are 1,000,001 free courses like that. This is amazing. If you take advantage of every free course, if you want to learn how to do digital advertising, I've seen 1,000,000 of those. There's courses for just about everything right now. NYU, Yale, take advantage of it because it's not going to come back around.
It is not. I saw a free course with Yale. I was like,
exactly.
I was typing so fast, and then I was like a minute too late. And then the one that you shared with me too, couldn't get into that one. So I have been keeping my eyes open because I'm like, I would never be able to step foot on their campus and take a course at any means. So yep, Latasha says she's taking a course with Yale now too. Like, it is definitely time for you to keep your eyes open because some of the things that we never thought we would have, we have access to. So let's see. Okay, so Crystal got back with us. She said she does blogging and events for women. Her actual job is a corporate consultant in the oil and gas industry.
Oh, I thought she was like selling sex toys or something the way she said it. I mean, women's empowerment, like, I don't see how they would conflict. Like, especially, I've never heard of too many people, women in like the oil industry. So there's a market for that. Like, you should be using that blog and that platform. And also intertwining that into work, because I'm sure they have numbers to hit as it relates to gender. So they kind of go hand in hand. Okay. So Crystal says she side-eyeing a free course at Yale because she was late to the party and she had just started at Cornell. Yep. You got in somewhere. You better than me. I'm in nowhere. I got these courses though, but I still want the one from some of these Ivy Leagues. But all right, let's go ahead. So like I said, this the point that Crystal made, this kind of goes into our next question, which was,
do you feel like your identity, or anyone you may even know, has been ever fractured because of having a side hustle and your 9 to 5?
Again, over the last 5 years, because I show up as myself, I don't feel like it has. I do feel like before I was able to get to that point, it was very siloed, and it was like, no, like, you're in advertising, like, this is what you do, this is your 24/7. Even down to like starting a family or being married, it was very much a rat race of go, go, go. This is how you raise, this is how you go up the ranks, just focusing on your job. So I do feel like my identity was fractured in that aspect. And then also, so a lot of people, when they start engaging with Millennial Mama, which it is based around motherhood, lifestyle, and business, my husband doesn't like to be on camera. So that's one. He hates being on camera. So I have gotten questions in no harm has been meant about like, I want tips on how to co-parent or something like that. And then I have to rewind and say, hey, I know I don't necessarily show my husband that much, but I can't help you in that area because I don't know, what that experience is. So it has been kind of fractured because people only see one part of me or a little bit of me and don't understand like everything that comes with it. But again, over the last 5 years, I feel like I've been more confident in myself than I've ever been able to be. And that has helped me in my main hustle and my side hustles.
Gotcha. It's a lot of times where, like in Crystal's situation, where someone doesn't feel comfortable talking about their full-time job. I've had ladies that who have come on board to speak at some of our events, and they're like, oh, on the flyer, only put my business because I don't want people to know that I still have a 9 to 5. And I'm like, why? Because let me tell you, if I could have a 9 to 5 and do what I'm doing now, I would. And I'm not against it. But I just, at this point now, when I go to an employer, they're like, why do you want to come and do this? You're doing all these other things. That's a whole nother webinar. But I think that a lot of times people think that it may hinder their business because they still have a 9 to 5. And I hate that is the thought process. I've never been a full-time entrepreneur that looked down on anyone that had a job. I'm actually hating because you have consistent income. I'm blessed to have like my husband's benefits and things of that nature. Mm-hmm. But I just always the question came about is just to kind of encourage people to actually tell your story in its full true state, because you don't know like that may be your market, that those people who have 9 to 5s and trying to work the side hustle, or the people who are in the oil company, or someone had emailed me and they were saying that they use Poshmark as well. She could talk about how she sells clothes on Poshmark, but during the day she's an accountant or so forth, things of that nature. Exactly. So I just always tell people, like, don't be afraid to tell your full story, because it honestly could help you develop your own little community of following.
It's true. And over the last few years, there's this culture around like, you need to be an entrepreneur, like the 9 to 5, like that's whack. Don't do that. Like, you want to be your own boss. I hate that we built that culture, because you can have a 9 to 5 and be an entrepreneur. Right. That is your biggest capital, is that money and that income you're getting from your 9 to 5. And not for nothing, you're getting free game. Like, I have revenue targets at work. That is allowing me to understand for my business what a revenue target is, what I can't spend money on because I need a more than break even. This is free game that you're getting, and you're getting paid for it. And even for me, I need that structure. I know if it was up to me to be a full-time entrepreneur, I would probably be asleep until 9:30 a.m. But I need the structure of getting up, going to work, etc. And then there's the other side of it where some people don't want to necessarily say who their employer is, just because of conflict of interest. Like, you don't want to seem like a spokesperson for that company. But look, ain't nothing wrong with having a 9 to 5. Like, whatever works for you, as long as you're happy and you like what you do, or you understand why you're there, then it's totally fine.
Absolutely. Ladies, can continue to keep dropping those questions as they come about. So what is one thing you wish you knew before actually launching your side hustle?
Whew. So I think the biggest lesson, and I'm glad I learned it before Millennial Mama launched, is the people that you think are going to be your biggest supporters are not your biggest supporters. So you will be hurt. Your feelings will be hurt. You will waste a lot of time, and you will waste a lot of money and energy focusing on the people that you thought would be there and be the first ones buying your things and coming to your events. It's not going to be them. So focus on, who your target market is, the people that are showing up for you. Focus your energy on that. And again, I'm glad I learned it before Millennial Mama, because Princess Foundation is primarily volunteer based. So I'm like, if I can't get people that I thought was down for me to volunteer, I know I'm not getting them to spend money on an event or a t-shirt or anything like that. I will say that I am blessed for the most part to have a super strong tribe that, they go hard. Sabrina, they go hard. They're the first ones at everything. But then through that comes a lesson. Like, you learn who your people are. You learn who, who was riding with you because it was fun to hang out and all that stuff, and who's really riding with you as you're trying to build some type of generational wealth for your family. So that was the one thing I wish I knew before, because that would have helped me even in a lot of organizational things as it comes down to my nonprofit organization. But I know now.
So how did you actually find not really your tribe, but how did you find your audience? Like, what steps did you take to be able to figure out, okay, I know you have, the nonprofit and it's the teens. Okay, clearly. And then of course you have your blog and that's for moms. Okay, clearly. But how did you actually distinguish okay, this is my market. These are the people that are going to show up for me. And then how did you move forward from there?
And it goes back to being authentic. Me just talking about, guess what? I love being a mother, but the shit is hard today. Excuse my language. Me just being honest, literally we started engaging and we started sharing stories or experiences, and then they would tell a friend, and then they would tell a friend. Even when I look at my analytics from the blog or even Instagram, a lot of the locations, I'm like, I've only been there maybe 2 times in my life, but, I have a lot of followers, that are there. And even 2 years into the blog, I don't have 10,000 followers. I don't even have 5,000, and I'm okay with that. I'm going at the pace that I need to go at and what works for me. So just really staying engaged with those people and just showing up as my best self is, as much as I can. That has really helped me to identify that market, and kind of getting information from them on what they'd like to see more of on the blog or event wise. I had my first event in February, and that took me almost 2 years to do. And I'm okay with that, because I knew last year I was focused on getting a new role at work. So that was my primary focus. Once I got settled into that, it was, okay, what's next for Millennial Mama? So that is, and I think you asked this question before, how you maintain all of that. It's just like life. There are going to be seasons where things are just going to ebb and flow. And I knew last year I needed to focus on my next role at work. And this year is what's next for my brand and my family.
Love it. We got a couple of comments and questions that came through. We're going to go back. So Crystal did say that she actually had to pay money for Cornell. So she didn't get in on a free course. Sorry about that. We thought she got in.
That's why she said her feelings were hurt.
Brittany agreed with your comment about, who shows up for you. Z said, yep, they're ghosts. Tiffany said facts. LaTorsha said, amen. My biggest supporters have been online people. Some I have never met. Jakia said, that is true. People you think will support you actually don't. Jessica said, for your side hustle, did you register as an actual business?
I did. So at first, Millennial Mama was not registered as a business. And then again, because I was just blogging and passing time. But before I had an event or started selling merchandise, I did register it as a business because I just wanted to cover all of my bases. So again, it's not something get a feel for it first. I don't think you have to necessarily do it
right
before
away.
you go, but
Yeah.
once you start moving, do it, because one, you don't want someone else to register that name. You'd be pretty pissed if you start putting all this stuff out and then someone takes your name. And it's a really seamless process, well, at least in New Jersey, that you can do online yourself.
I agree. Especially when you start collecting money. You just want to be protected.
Because Uncle Sam be like, I seen all the promotions you put up on Instagram. Where's my money?
Z says she had to learn to network with people I don't know and go places I've never been and been vulnerable. So, Ebony, because that takes us into a great question. Has there ever been a situation where you actually had to enter into a room that you were not comfortable with, you were unsure, you were unsteady, and actually came out very successful necessarily? Or not even just a room, but a webinar, a podcast, an interview, whatever the case may be?
Yeah, I think we all suffer from a level of imposter syndrome at some point. So it's hard, especially if like you're an introvert and you don't like networking. I know a lot of people that like hate networking, but it's a matter of how you're doing it. So I learned that you have to be very intentional. If you know you're going somewhere and you're not really sure of what the audience is or who will be there, LinkedIn is a great tool. If I know I'm going to a conference and I don't necessarily know anyone going personally, I put that out on LinkedIn. Hey, I'm going to XYZ in Los Angeles, California. If you'll be there, let's connect. So I try to get feelers out beforehand. But I think it's really just a matter of being confident in yourself and just understanding that you were placed in a room for a reason. It's not a coincidence that you just showed up at this place. There's a reason you need to be there. And again, being intentional before you go in there. I'm going to leave with at least 3 contacts. I'm going to connect with X amount of people. That has been the most successful for me. Trying to work the room and talk to everybody does not work. Like it does not work. You just really need to be intentional and plan ahead.
And honestly, people see you bouncing around from person to person. Like they're like, she's so busy. Like, and me, if I see that you're just like everywhere, like passing out your card here and there, I will more than likely try to stay out of your way. I don't want to say hi, but at that point, I'm just like, she's just doing, like, you're doing the most. I think you should always seize any moment, but just like Ebony said, be intentional about the people that you actually try to connect with, because it's very noticeable if you're trying to talk to 50 people at a 70-person event. We're going to see you being extra in so many.
Exactly. And another tip I have is I never go in for the ask. I don't go into a room expecting someone to do something for me at that first instance. Like, it should be natural. Hey, let's connect. Let's grab coffee, whatever the case may be. Build a relationship before you just go, hey, buy my t-shirt. Hey, check out my ebook. Like, start building a relationship, and it should be a two-way street. It shouldn't just be, what can this person do for me? It should also be, there are things that I have within me, that can contribute to this person's success as well. And people know when you're just trying to get something out of them.
Right. Quick example, I have a great relationship with Aunt Jackie Coals and Curls. Went to a conference, they had a table set up, and I was like, and this is real life, I was having issues with their gel and their cream. I was mixing it, and my hair I would get white stuff in it. And I was like, why is this happening? Like, I love your products. I was talking to the lady, and she was like, well, you really shouldn't use them together. Some people's hair can handle it, some don't. So I suggest that you do this and this. I was like, okay, thank you. And I was like, well, thank you for helping me. My name is Sabrina. She introduced herself. And I said, what is your role within the company? Come to find out, she's the marketing director. Great. Well, can I take your information? I'm having a women's event later this year. Sure. Because we made a connection. We talked. I laughed, and this was without me even knowing who she was and what it is she does. And since then, I've been literally working with that brand for the last 2.5 years. So, and I was nervous about even going up asking her that question, but just having those authentic conversations really get you a long way. There was another question after that. This was from Monique. Monique said, Monique, hey girl, Oh, yes, she did my resume, y'all. Let me tell you, she is a beast. If y'all need any resume services, please contact Monique. Please drop your information on here because she is amazing. But how do you deal with your side hustle being very similar to your 9-to-5? For example, I offer career services at work. In my side hustle business, I do similar things. I feel some kind of way knowing that some of my colleagues know about my business and they have access to my socials and websites to watch what I'm doing. What are some tips in navigating that?
I would say as long as, I'm sure you have a clear understanding that there won't be a conflict of interest where you're taking clients from your main hustle and saying, hey, I got it for the low over here or anything like that. Just making sure there's a clear line that this is not a conflict of interest. And then, like I always say, just being authentic. Like, this is what I'm passionate about. This is what I do. At the end of the day, every employer, no matter how big or how small, has to have the expectation that the people that work for you are not going to be your employees forever. Right. You should want to see them grow and go off on their own. Like, that's how you know you've done a great job as an employer, is that you've been able to groom people and give them the tools that they need to go off on their own. So as long as you've been clear with your direct manager or whoever it is about, hey, this is what I do on the side. There's no conflict of interest. I don't steal company supplies or, company software. Then it should be fine. But I will also check to make sure within the company handbook that there isn't a clause that says that you can't do any work outside of that. Because when I was working in the agency space at advertising agencies, I did used to do consulting work on the side. There was no conflict. Like, it wasn't a client for my agency. They were just a client for myself, that I was doing consulting and contract work for. And it was totally fine because I wasn't doing their work on company time, and it wasn't a conflict of interest.
Right. And Kimberly V also said that she also worked in university career services, and she thinks the main thing is just ensuring your clients are not actually your students. And that's a big thing. You probably have to ask them up front, where do you work? Where do you live? Okay, great. Now that is clear, we can move forward type of thing.
Exactly.
And again, that kind of goes back to that original point we make about having that conversation with your supervisor, so that there's clear lines of communication, and you never are doing any of your side hustle work at work, because it is so similar.
Yeah.
All right, so let's kind of go back up. So Jakia, kind of talking more about the networking. She said people that she's networked with have been more than willing to support me and offer a helping hand along the way. Z said, agreed with Jakia. She said it's also hard to work on herself internally, fight the imposter syndrome, and watch the self-talk.
And I think in cases like that, if you need to seek outside help, or if you need to make an investment into your own professional growth that'll help you overcome that, do that. A lot of therapists, the work that they do with people, again, I'm not a therapist, it helps with that because it helps you identify things that cause you to have imposter syndrome. Right. But if you need a career coach or a professional development coach, make that investment in yourself, because it's going to pay off in the long run.
Yep. Absolutely. So kind of going into a next question, we have one from, please forgive me if I'm pronouncing your name incorrectly, but I believe it's Shalene Aaron. She said, can you talk about pitching, how you have received speaking engagements? Do they pitch you, or are you pitching yourself and the brand?
So, and this is not the case for everyone, so I'm not going to say this is Bible. All of this speaking engagements I've had so far, the brand has come to me. I haven't necessarily pitched myself. One, because it's a time commitment, and I'm really busy, so I don't really, put myself out there for that. So any of the engagements I've had so far has literally been from brands that I've just been engaged with on social, and they have asked me to speak on different platforms. But it's not to say that you don't pitch pitch brands,
right.
because I know a lot of brands will have speakers submit a speaker request and maybe a reel of them speaking before. And then it also comes down to just, again, that networking piece. I've had people that have come to one event and they're like, oh my gosh, I saw you on this mom panel or whatever the case may be. I'm having this event whenever the event is. I'd love to learn more about, you know, if you can join that event. So that also comes into networking, but I haven't had the opportunity to really pitch yet because the brands have come to me. So I wish I could be more help, but one day I'll have an answer for you.
I can answer it a little bit too. So it's better for the company to approach you. You have, when the company approaches you, you have a little bit more leverage in your ask. So, and that's coming from someone who's been approached and for someone who actually approaches, you know, women to be a part of our events. I think the key thing is having a solid, I guess you could say platform, of what it is that you want to talk about. I get people all the time that come to me that say, I want to speak at your event. And then like, there's no supporting information. I don't know what it is they talk about. I see like maybe on social media what it is that they do, but like, that's great. I see that, but does that mean that you're still a great speaker? Because just because you're a great employer or you're a great business owner doesn't mean you're necessarily a great speaker. And speaking not meaning that you're like super articulate and all these other things, but can you actually draw people in and tell a story? Because if y'all can tell, even just from these webinars, like I take super serious about the people that I like to have and bring into the space, because I want, after every session, every panel, that for people to get something out of it as best as possible. So I think being very clear about what it is that you can talk about is super, super important. Specifically if you're pitching to a brand. Now, if someone approaches you, you don't have to necessarily be as anal about it, but it's still helpful, because you want to be able to be confident about what it is that you're talking to. But I mean, just always go to the event organizer's contact information and submit your information, and you will, I mean, the opportunities will continue to come. But I will say that you more than likely will get more opportunities when they approach you versus you approaching them, unless they have like a speaker's application.
Yeah.
I don't have any speaker applications. We get tons of emails. I usually know who I want before an event even comes, but sometimes there are people that come, I'm like, oh wait, she's great, you know, and I reel her in. But it just depends. It just kind of depends on the brand and what the actual organization is. Looks like we have tons of networking going on in the chat right now, which is great. But let's see. I don't think I see necessarily any like 100% questions per se. Sharonda did say, that's good, Ebony, to invest in yourself. Do we have any other questions before we wrap it up? We're like 7 minutes away from our end time. Let's see, make sure I didn't have any. Let me check my email, because I got a couple of emails. Some of our ladies that dialed in are emailing questions.
Because they just dialed in, but not in the,
or texting me, one or the other. Okay, someone did. She said that I want to start a clothing business, but I work a traditional 9-to-5. What would be the best route in beginning this?
A clothing business. I mean, if you work at a 9-to-5, there's still, how many hours in a day is that? 8? I don't know math. You've still got a lot of hours to do it.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're thinking about opening a brick and mortar store. And right now, with the climate of the country, if someone is thinking about opening a physical location, you know, you can see what happens to an owner that has a physical location. But if you're thinking about doing it online, you got time to do it. A lot of these apps you can do on your mobile phone where you can update inventory, all that good stuff. So I would say, one, research. I mean, I know there's 1,000,001 online boutiques. That's not to say don't do it, because what's for you is for you. But I would say identify at least 3 to 5 of those businesses that you think are doing well. You like their business structure. Again, with the networking piece, just throw yourself out there and ask someone, hey, how do I start a business like this? Did you have a job when you started this kind of business? Again, prioritizing that time and just blocking off time on your calendar, even if it's going to be 2 hours a day. I'm going to spend 2 hours a day researching how to start this business and actually launching it. It can be done.
Nice. All right, ladies. Do we have anything else? Any closing thoughts? Any closing questions? Oh, wait, hold on. Let me see.
One more question.
Okay, can you touch on contracts when attending speaking engagements, or if someone asks you to be a brand ambassador or market their products?
Contracts. Always have a contract. That's the first thing I'm gonna say. Always have a contract when you're doing a speaking engagement, even if you're doing a free one. And the reality of it is, at first, you probably will do some free speaking engagements. And that's really just to build your speaker kit, or you may, know the person and want to help out, or that's your kind of contribution to the business. But whether it's free or paid, I would say have a contract in place, because things change a lot, especially as, I'm sure Sabrina knows because she puts on events. Things change, but you want to make sure your commitment to whatever the brand or the event is, you want to make sure that's in place so that it doesn't trickle down to you. And I think as far as pricing yourself, don't think about pricing yourself. Not don't think about pricing yourself, but don't think too hard about it at first. Find out what the going rate is for someone kind of in the same, that talks about the same thing as you. And you'll know deep down inside when you're at that point that you're not going to do any more free speaking engagements. Being totally transparent, my first year and a half, I was okay with not getting paid for speaking engagements because I wanted to build my speaker portfolio. Sabrina, you went away. I wanted to build my speaker portfolio. And I really wanted to just get a better grip on how to, navigate this new space, because I talk about tech all the time, but talking about motherhood and blogging and all that stuff and side hustles was very new to me. And then I got to a point where I said, okay, I'm not speaking for free anymore. Because at the end of the day, I'm taking time, especially if I have to travel, I'm taking time away from my family. So if my husband can't be home, that means, whether it's bringing someone else in, it still costs. So although I'm, away, it's still impacting my family's pocket in some way. So I would say definitely research the industry that you're speaking in, see how much other people are charging. A lot of well-known speakers, they really already have their fee up front because they don't want you to email them unless that's within your budget. And always kind of price yourself high. That way you can negotiate down. So if you're not taking less than $500 for a speaking engagement, throw out $800. See what happens. And it's kind of what Anovia talked about last week with how much you would charge as you're pitching people. So start up high and negotiate yourself down. That way you're not going below that threshold of what you would charge. And $500 is low, but that was just a number I threw out there.
Yes, but remember, we're going to be talking about perfecting that pitch with Black Girl Ventures later on. I think it's next week. No, actually, it's April 1st. So make sure y'all are signed up for the pitch, because all this information is building you up to becoming your best personal brand or small business. We have 2 more questions on here that I wanted to kind of get to really quickly. We have, how do you handle conflicting priorities between your side and day jobs?
I got to keep my day job, because there will be no side jobs if I don't keep my day job. So, and I work in a digital space, so the internet is on 24/7. So there can be fire drills sometimes. I do really prioritize my day job because 1, I love what I do. 2, I want to show up as, the best employee. And there are places that I want to go within the company that I need my work to show for that. As far as the side hustles that I have, they can really be managed in the evening. There aren't any fire drills unless, like with the nonprofit, that I have girls who may need something during the day or they really have an issue. I do have a team of 7 other people. So there has been times where, you know, we've had to kind of bounce the ball to see who can handle something. But as of right now, and this could change in 5 years, as of right now, my main hustle gets the priority.
Gotcha. Thank you so much, Ebony. We're kind of right here. Someone had asked about business cards, but I think everyone had answered that. I think, Ebony, you would agree with me that when you're going to these networking events, you probably should create a separate business card with her personal information versus her employer information.
Absolutely. Do not hand out your employer's business card for your side hustle. But I am also like trying to save the world and get better with my carbon footprint. So I don't say go out and make 1,000 business cards. Honestly, with LinkedIn, there's a feature on LinkedIn where you can scan someone's QR code and you could be connected with them. I think that is the best connection because honestly, people take business cards and throw it to the bottom of their bag. So if you can not have to produce paper and business cards, don't. But I would say always keep a couple on hand. But no doubt, LinkedIn, scan that person, connect with them right away. That way they can't say, oh, I lost your business card. Oh, no, I seen you've been posting articles every day.
Right. Crystal asked to see if we can network with everyone. So in the chat, if you want to drop your social media handles and our website, please feel free to go ahead and do that while I make a few public service announcements. Like I said, thank you so much, Ebony, for today. You dropped some great, valuable information. I talk to you every day and I don't even know these things about you. So, you know, but like I said, I have on the Millennial Mama t-shirts. I will pull up the slides so that you all can grab her information really quickly.
And there's 20% off through the rest of Women's History Month. So head over to www.millennialmama.com. Engage with me on social. Connect with me on LinkedIn. My name is Ebony Dilworth. If you want to connect with me on LinkedIn, would love to be connected with you guys there. Like Sabrina said, I'm happy. Thank you so much for having me. I'm glad I was able to hopefully share some useful information with everyone. And I'm looking forward to the rest of the webinars in this series because they're all amazing.
Yes. And before we end that part, I wanted to be able to share her contact information with you all. I have a little new initiative going on called the Prevailing Woman Outreach, the Prevailing Woman Pandemic Outreach. So I just put it on the screen. We have been actually granted this morning to work alongside Biogen, which is, as you know, is a medical medication type STEM program that they have here in the Morrisville in our Research Triangle part. They have a philanthropy portion, and they're doing some some COVID-19 outreach. So they are willing to come on board and they're going to match our efforts. So if anyone would love to be a part of this to help us give groceries, necessities, medication, gas, the list goes on and on for some of our families who are in need, people who have been laid off, furloughed. You can give anything as small as $1, $5, $10. And if you go all the way up to $50 or more, you can actually get one of our spring edition of the Prevailing Woman t-shirts. They're on our website. All this information is on our website. I love the new shirts. So please, 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 if you can support us, I would love to get our efforts all the way up to at least about $5,000. If they can match us, we're not too far away from it. Just after announcing it last night, we're already over a little over 1,000. So I pray that you all can help me get there. And other than that, I think that's it. I see y'all still going on and on in this good chat box. But thank you all so much again. Please have a good remainder of your day. I will see you all on Friday. We're going to be talking at, I believe, at 1 o'clock. Let me pull it up really quickly. Yep, we're going to be talking Friday at 1:00 with Angelina Darasol. She's another amazing supporter of the Prevailing One. We're going to be talking about how to leverage the crossover skills when changing careers. So a lot of
you don't want to miss that one. Angelina's good.
She is really, really, really good. She's very knowledgeable. She is a C-suite Google coach. She's a career coach. So she is on point. So please, please, please make sure you all tune in. If you don't receive my email, because my email is acting crazy, do not feel like you are being worse than if you drop into my DM so I can drop you the link. I want to make sure you are, because the links change every webinar. I try to keep it the same, but it wouldn't let me do that. So make sure you all tune in with us on Friday, 1 p.m. See y'all later. Have a good day. Thank you, Ebony.
Bye.